Hey there, I'm Jack Rita. I'm a game designer with Future Pastimes, and I work on a number of Dune-themed board games like Arrakis Dawn of the Fremen, Dune Conquest, which is the movie version of the classic Dune board game, for which I also do expansions for that game from Gale Force 9. And I wanted to share my thoughts on the most recent trailer for the second Dune movie that came out. And wow, it's a great trailer. It's really exciting. It shows a lot of stuff, a lot more stuff than I expected, especially in light of what was not shown in the teaser trailer that came out recently. But first and foremost, of course, we really get our first look at Christopher Walken as Emperor Shaddam. And I was a little bit skeptical about Christopher Walken. It was just a surprise casting for me. It's not at all what I pictured. And Christopher Walken has almost sort of become his own meme of himself, where he's just a larger than life character. And I guess they wanted somebody larger than life to play the Emperor. But it does seem to be a pretty understated performance from what little that we've seen, which I think is good because certainly Christopher Walken can go extra large when not reined in. So I'm certainly warming up to that idea. I think it will surely be a pretty great performance, and I'm looking forward to it. In the book, the Emperor doesn't really show up until the very end, so clearly we're going to get some scenes on Kaitane, which is where the House Carino holds up shop, and hopefully we'll get to see some machinations in what the Emperor is doing, what he's hoping to achieve, his reaction to how the Harkonnens are governing Arrakis after taking over again from the Atreides. Still don't know if we're going to have a Count Fenring in the movie. Certainly not a very major character, but in his own way, an important one. But I think easily one of the, if they're going to say we're going to limit the number of characters, Fenring is certainly on the chopping block. We do know that we're going to have those scenes that the Fenrings, as a couple, were in the book on the Harkonnen homeworld of Giedi Prime. But they may just let Lady Fenring do all the heavy lifting there. She was kind of doing all the heavy lifting anyway, but the Count had a lot of dialogue with the Baron, which is probably just going to go away. So not sure how that's going to play out, but it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I think any more intrigue that they can insert into the story that's outside of what's going on in Arrakis will be interesting to watch, and will, I think, fill out a lot of the world building and lore of the Dune universe in a way that I think you're not normally going to get in a movie without hearing inner thoughts and reading about all the context. We also get to see that there's going to be a lot of Fremen on Sardaukar fighting there at the end in front of the Imperial structure, which looks pretty cool, and their encampment there. And we do get to see that atomics are going to be used on the shield wall, it seems. So there was always a little bit of question, I think a lot of people had, myself included, about what they were considering the shield wall, and that was just because of the editing from the first movie. And the scene where Thufir is flying Jessica and Paul into Arrakeen for the first time, they fly over the shield wall, and Thufir says, "That's the shield wall." And then the next cut is to the wall that is the perimeter around Arrakeen, which led a lot of people to think, oh, that must be the shield wall. But it's not. It really is not the shield wall. And in part two, Paul will use the Atreides family atomics to blow up the shield wall to allow for the Coriolis storm to descend on Imperial Basin, and that takes out the Baron and the Emperor's air superiority, and does allow for troops and other things to come through that breach in the shield wall into the basin, which normally they wouldn't really be able to do in such a way. We don't get to see any of the other things, so if you're a fan of the book, you'll know what I'm talking about. And if you're one of those people who freaks out about spoilers, well, I didn't really spoil anything. So But yeah, it's good because if Paul had used the atomics on the perimeter of the city, that would very much violate the Great Convention, which the great houses have. They all have atomics, and they promise not to use it on each other and people. But Paul uses it on a natural piece of rock, so no collateral damage there. But yeah, quite a great explosion, pretty fantastic shot. So looking forward to seeing that on a big screen. I'm planning to see part 2 in IMAX. I'm hoping they re-release part 1 into IMAX because I didn't get to see the IMAX experience the first time in the middle of COVID. I did go to the movie theater, and then that same day I went home and watched it on HBO, and I've watched it on HBO 5 or 6 times since then. So I'm ready for big screen action once again. I'm still not crazy about that black and white footage on Giddy Prime. I know a lot of people are speculating, oh, it's it's just a flashback. I don't think it's a flashback. That scene definitely takes place after the first movie because it's clear that Fade is fighting Lanville. It looks like Lanville, and the actor who played Lanville said he was going to be fighting Fade Rotha more than a year ago. So that's out there. It's clearly Lanville, and so they've captured Lanville after attacking Arakeen in the first movie, and he's the one fighting Fade. So it's not really a flashback. It's just kind of weird. I suppose it could be. They could skip well past that point in the narrative of the movie and then somehow do a flashback to it, but it's just kind of weird, especially because we do see footage from that same visit. That's the visit where the Fenrings go to Giddy Prime. They go and they watch Fade fight in the arena. And we've seen footage of Lady Margot and Fade, which is from that same visit. And that footage was not in black and white. So, I don't see it as it's a flashback during that visit. It's just kind of weird. I don't think it's going to be a flashback, but again, we'll see how they stitch it all together. I think there's going to be some really good action, and I think that's what they're really focused on with this. You can see the Harkonnen ship blasting the heck out of the some desert rock formation or Fremen camp. Not sure what's going on there, and then of course a fleet of ornithopters firing missiles at the rock, so they're trying to blow up the Fremen, I guess. And a lot of fighting, a lot of hand-to-hand fighting. So there's been stories about how it's kind of like a war movie, and they're clearly focusing on that in the trailer, that it's going to be action-packed, which is great. I think that's fine. I think there's a lot of the second half of the book is a lot of the Fremen trying to sabotage the spice operations, blowing stuff up, fighting it out to grind the spice production to a halt. But then that's mixed in with a lot of the mysticism of Dune, with the whole prophecy about the Mahdi, with the Fremen culture, and then Paul's parallel journey of whether or not he is the Kwisatz Haderach. And so trying to balance out how much of that does he exploit and how much of it is true, and his sort of struggle too. And there's a lot of that goes on in the book, but I'm sure they're going to probably condense much of that down. And we'll see how the how into the relationship between Paul and Chani gets, because in the book they they get into forming a family very much in it, and that's something that the Lynch movie didn't bother getting into with their truncated timeline of how long the movie was going to be and how much they were going to cover. So yeah, I'll be curious to see how that develops as well, because I think it's for me it's a very emotional moment when the Sardaukar raid that siege, where Chani's not there, but other people are there, and again, book people will know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I always felt that was a really important scene. So I'll be really interested to see if they did it. The miniseries did it. I thought they did a pretty good job with it, and I thought it was the sort of, screenwriting world where you're talking about the formula for the perfect screenplay, and you got the heroes has their setbacks and the darkest of the night. Can't remember the exact term that they use, but that seems like that would be a pretty good moment for that arc of the story. So again, we'll see how it goes. So yeah, I think the production looks pretty amazing. I really like the design of some of the stuff, and I mentioned the Imperial compound that they set up there, right there in Arakeen, and whatever that globe is floating above it. I'll be interesting to see how that shapes up. But yeah, it's a great trailer. I watched it 3 times in a row. Came out of nowhere. Normally, they make this big deal about tomorrow, will be the new Dune trailer. And if they did that, I totally missed it. But I'm dialed into so many new Dune news outlets that it's hard for that to slip out. But yeah, it got posted. A link to it was posted on Discord, and I happened to stumble across it. I was like, oh, look, there's a trailer. And I thought it was just some fan trailer, because there's a lot of that. People are like, I've cut together my own trailer. Check this out. And it's like fake. But no, it was the real deal. So it's a really good trailer. I think I might need to go to a movie theater and just see if it is attached to any of those movies, so I can again just see the trailer itself on a big screen. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. What did you see in the trailer that excited you? Stuff that were you surprised by anything? Has anything like double down on your curiosity and excitement? I was very excited about part 2 and have been since part way through part 1, and I'm doubly excited now. I think it's going to be a great experience. I'm kind of looking forward to will they cut them both together? And if this were 10, 15 years earlier, there would be all these Criterion Collection extended. We've put both movies together on one DVD. DVDs aren't really much of a thing anymore. They're hard to come by. So I don't know. Probably not. But yeah, I'd love for there to be. I would absolutely sit through both movies cut together with all of the scenes that they deleted from the first movie and inevitably are going to delete from the second movie. Every other year, I sit down and watch all 3 extended Lord of the Rings back to back. It's an entire day of Lord of the Rings. And yeah, I've done it many times, and I just don't ever get tired of it. So yeah, I expect to do that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we'll never get that banquet scene. I'm sure we're never going to get it. I don't know why. If Denis Villeneuve is a fan of Dune, then he knows what the fans want, and they want more Dune. So give us all those cut scenes and stop teasing us with stills from them. We want to see the whole thing. We want it all cut together. Just release it. Release the Snyder Cut, and let us watch all the Dune all the time. That's it for this one. Thanks everybody for watching. Again, let me know your comments on it, and yeah, let's all watch Dune Part 2 the second it comes out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.